What is up, everyone? This is episode 2 of DPF on Tap. Hopefully I got my shit together this week. I was adding people to the studio. I didn't go live, so I didn't introduce myself last week. Name's Chris Nowazik, founder of Drunk Phil's Fans around 2010 or so. I'm happy that we got to do this, and I'm glad to be able to sit around with a group of guys and talk baseball, and glad to have an outlet to do it. I wanted to start off today with a special song that I wrote for all of you. This is a surprise to everyone because I don't think I didn't talk to this. So, hey there, Verlander, what's it like in New York City? Your manager's a stiff and your team is really shitty. Yes, they are. So that's all I got for this week. Maybe I'll keep adding to it. What we're going to hit this week is we're going to talk about a recap of the Braves and the Mets series. We're then going to look forward to the Cubs and Nats. We're going to talk a little bit about the All-Stars and kind of what we think is happening and maybe what Philly should be there. We're going to do a special segment that we think is going to be recurring called The Phillies Make Me Drink, ... It could be good or bad. And then we're going to move into possibly some other extras that we'll see if we have the time for today. If not, it will be on next week's episode. So, kick it off going to talking about the Mets and Braves series. So, Chris, what do you?
Yeah, obviously it was a disappointing homestand for the Phillies. I was predicting 5-1. I wanted 5-1. I wanted a sweep of the Mets. So to come in. The Phillies came in 13-2, coming off the road, coming in from Oakland, starting a big series with the Braves, and I was really looking for them to come in and play well. First game, they really wasted a Ranger Suarez start. 6 innings, 1 earned run, and then I really questioned the bullpen usage by Thomson in that game. Tie ball game, top of the 7th, and you're going with Hoffman, Vasquez, and Covey as the 3 to close that game out. Not really sure. Yeah. Another issue in that game, Phillies had 11 hits, and only managed 1 run or 2 runs in a 4-2 game, in a 4-2 loss. Biggest problem they had in that game, 1 for 12 runners in scoring position.
Same old
story. Same old story. Another 5-1 loss to the Braves, wasted a Nola start. 6 innings, no earned runs. Marte comes in, extra innings, 10th inning, ends up giving up 5 unearned runs because of Schwarber in left field being as stiff and not being able to make a play that a routine, an everyday outfielder should be able to make. Nice 5-1 win against the Mets. Walker, 6 solid innings. Nice day for one in the scoring position, 4 for 9. Wasted a pretty good start by Sanchez, I thought. 5 innings, 3 earned runs. And then yesterday, the Mets handed it to us. The Mets really handed us 2 or 3 games in this series. Because even in the first game, you had a misplay by Nimmo in the first inning, the pop-up that dropped in between Lindor and the left fielder. The Phillies are not playing well, but we're lucky to get 2 out of 5 games at home. John?
Yeah, I feel the same way. With the Braves, I was frustrated. They got 8 hits off of Strider, but only 1 earned run. And they couldn't get to the bullpen after that, so that frustrated me. And then they only got 3 hits off of Elder. Ranger wasted out, and then Pigs are going to fly, but we wasted a Nola outing. I didn't want to say that, but holy whoo.
Yeah.
But Nola pitched actually good 6 innings, but we couldn't hit for him. And then the Mets series, they got the Senga in the pen pretty good. Taiwan looked good, but they only got 2 runs off Crazy Eyes. And if there was ever a win I wanted to get was against Crazy Eyes. Sure, I just hate that dude. They couldn't hit the bullpen, and then yesterday it was very ugly until the 8th. And I think it was along what you were saying, it was more. The Mets kind of choked than we did scrap a little, but the Mets more choked than, we came back and won that game. That's what I think. But I was going into it thinking, well, I'm actually thinking we lucked out by having that one rain out.
Rain out,
We don't
yeah.
have to play that one because we went 0-2 against them. I was thinking we were going to go 1-2. That's what I was predicting, and I predicted a sweep against the Mets. But I'll take 2. It was ugly, but I'll take it.
Mike, what are you thinking? What do you got?
So can you guys hear this? I got
Yeah.
bad
Yep.
feedback.
Yep.
All right, so game one against Atlanta. Three guys 0 for 4. Turner, Bowman, Clemens. Really killed that game. 9 books for Strider. And we gave up 3 in the bullpen. That was the whole story. The game 2, I wrote down. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. So thankfully, to John's point a minute ago, we didn't have to play that second game. And then 7 left on base in game 3. Top 5 guys in the lineup, 0 for 18 with 8 books. And you all covered the Nola decent start that we blew. I think the moral of the Mets story is discipline, right? We were talking amongst ourselves, and somebody said they were very disciplined in that 8th inning last night, and that was the story of those 2 games. We were more disciplined in the 2 that we won versus the 1 that we lost, in my opinion. Butcha, I think you're third.
Sorry, guys. I'm having a lot of technical issues. It wouldn't be a day if I didn't have tech issues. I'm going to step out real quick, and then I'm going to step back in. All right. I apologize.
All right, that's all good. So I'll kind of finish up. I'm not happy. Nothing would make me happy about 2 wins in the homestand. It's absolute bullshit, and it's not okay. We didn't even win 2 games. We just basically didn't lose 2 when they wanted to let us lose 2. It's the skin of our teeth. It's absolute nonsense. It's fucking unacceptable. I'm tired of no-hitting. It's the same goddamn story. Since the no-hit game at the World Series, we haven't fucking hit. The team just does not hit. It's that game on, they're not hitting. And also I'm pissed off about, I want to have a fun summer. We didn't, last June was okay, and this whole Schwarber thing is the June guy. He's not the June guy. The dude's 0 for the last 18 or something like that. I'm sick of it. I want a good month of baseball. And it's okay if it's September, but I really want it to be June, July, August, September, and October. And it's just not okay. I just can't be okay with 2 wins out of 5. And, it's not good enough. And I'll kind of move into what we're going to be doing, and I'll talk first. The Cubs are playing well. The Nats are absolutely terrible, and they have no, interest in kind of winning or playing hard, I guess, maybe for their own stats. You have to win 5 games. Anything less than that, to me, is absolutely unacceptable. You got to win 2 in Chicago, and you got to sweep the Nats the hell out.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I'll take 4 wins. I won't be as greedy this week as I was last week, wanting 5, so I'll take 4. I mean, right now you look at the Cubs, they're coming in, they're 2 games below 500, 37 and 39. The Phillies have their rotation lined up to be Ranger, Nola, and Walker going in those 3 games. And the Cubs are throwing some guy TBD in all 3. I don't know who he is. Probably going to no-hit the Phillies, though. But then you look at the Nationals. Yeah, like you said, they're a bottom feeder. They're 30 and 47. That's going to be, 3 in Chicago, 3 at home. To me, you got to get 4, 5, is ideal. You're lined up. You got Rangers been pitching well his last 4 or 5 starts. Nola had a real solid start this last start against Atlanta, and Walker's been really good getting into the 6th inning. Most of his starts. So I think we're lined up well to win those 4 or 5 games in his next 2 series. And like I said, 4, nothing less than 4, and the bats have to come alive. They have to start hitting. 1 good game with runners in scoring position in the last 5 at home. They're just not getting it done with the bats. They got to pick it up. Yeah. John?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm thinking along with you about. I'm thinking 4 wins. If we lose 2, it's going to be the Ron game because he's going to screw up the next time. He did well last game, but I know Nola's going to screw up. I just have a feeling. I'm just preparing for it. Then you got and the other loss would probably be Sanchez or AK Bullpen Bob or whoever from Save a Lot is throwing a catch out back or whoever they're throwing out there. But I mean, you got Ranger twice, so I'm confident in that. Like you said, Walker's pitching well, and I think we'll bounce back. And I'm not really, and we skipped Stroman. Stroman always pitches as well, so I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm thinking like 2 with the Cubs, and you got to sweep the Nats.
I think
There's no excuse.
Stroman left to start yesterday. I think right in the
Blister.
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah, we don't know what his situation will be.
Mike, where are you at with this?
Yeah, I'm looking at it as interviews for what we're looking to add at the All-Star break, right? So you guys have outlined, these are 2 teams that aren't setting the world on fire, but they have some pieces that look interesting. We talked about Stroman last time. I know we won't see him, but possibly also Corbin. So if we see them with the Nats, I think Ranger gets the nod first game. I think he was lukewarm last time. He did well, but I think he usually comes back strong. And then looking for Nicky 3 buttons to stay hot. And we got to see Trey, JT, and Harper especially get hot. Cubs have won 4 of their last 5. Somebody, I think, Dugan, you said they're coming in here on a little bit of a heater. And we'll need really good starting pitching and I think a little bit better bullpen management. So we talked about that a moment ago with the review of the Atlanta and Mets series. I think there's another segment we might have coming up today if we have some time around. Is our guy good or lucky? And I think he needs to start to prove that he can manage this pen a little bit better than he has recently. I think 3 wins against the Nats that are cellar dwellers is a must. And I had 2-1 against the Cubs. Let's win that series. And then really, it's funny because as you do some research for these things, you dive into clubs, their coverage. There is just not much on the Nationals, and I just can't understand how that Expos organization went down there and had fallen this far from grace. So just my take on those 2. I don't know, is Butcher back?
Actually, yeah, I just got back. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, you're good.
All right. So basically, they laid a big fat fucking egg against the Braves, and they got a little lucky that the other game got rained out because they probably would have got swept 3 games when we were in here saying 6-0, 5-1, even 4-2, and then we had to settle for 2 games against the fucking stinking Mutts, and. Wins are wins. And that's what we were saying earlier today in the group chat is like, a win this early in the season, it's just as important as it is late, because if we win these games, then we don't have to win so many of those late games. We can get a cushion. So going in against the Cubs, I don't know what to expect right now from this team. I know that Schwarber's going to strike out. I know that Nola's going to give up a home run. And then we don't know what else is going to happen. They're not going to get hit by pitches 3 times in a row, and they're not going to walk and count on errors. So what's going to happen? We need hitting. We need our starting pitching to go deep, and we need the bullpen. And that's going to be the story for the rest of the year. So take 2 out of 3, and then sweep the Nats. Then we can have the same conversation we're going to have probably for the rest of the year. How do you feel about them now?
So, Mike, do you want to start the next segment off with the Phils Make Me Drink?
Yeah, I feel like we need a graphic there, but this is my take on Phils Make Me Drink, okay? So, JT, right? He hits for the cycle, and then he goes 0 for 15. To me, that's a scotch. We lose 2 to the Braves, That's a 12-pack for sure. Trey Turner pop-up with 2 on and 1 out. Drink your beer. Ruben said Bryce's launch angle is a little shallow. I definitely go for the shot of Jaeger there. And losing 5-1 in the 10th on 500 runs finished the case, guys. Like, I didn't have much to be happy about for happy drinking this time around, but those are my takes on, well, what makes me drink.
John?
Dylan Covey, Harrison, whoever else they want to put below Marsh that they picked up, at the Lost and Found. Just very frustrating. Like, Dylan Covey, they should shoot him in the frigate. Whatever the highest sphere is above the atmosphere, they should just shoot. I have no idea what business he is doing on a major league lineup at all. Like, him and Mart, like, just pretty much the bullpen and the bench players is pretty much my point. It's, like, very frustrating. Like, you got Brogdon and Bellotti down in the minors. Meanwhile, you got Marte and, Covey serving meatballs. Like, it's just, yeah. A couple extra beers, when I hear those names.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's anytime I hear T-Mac say fly ball to left field. Fly ball to left field to me is start pounding because you don't know what's going to happen. He might run in a circle and it might hit him on the goddamn head out there. You don't know. Any ball hit the Schwarber is an adventure and a good enough reason to drink. It was nice to see, every once in a while Turner has a game like he homered yesterday, another RBI single. You think I'm going to drink to celebrate because it looks like Trey Turner's breaking out, and then he might go 0 for 12 in these next 3 games. Harper, the lack of power from Harper is causing me some agita to drink because he the one thing Harper's always been has been that clutch guy, getting those 2 out RBIs, and it's just not there yet. I know he's coming back from the injury. I don't want to be too hard on him, but hey, if you're Bryce Harper and you're in the lineup, you got to produce. And I know his average is hovering around 300, but it's a lot of singles the other way, and hits with nobody on base, and it's not the hits that you need. One of the things I do get excited about is I just love Bryson Stott's approach at the plate. The guy is such a professional hitter. He'll foul off tough pitches. He'll take the ball the other way. He's not looking to launch the ball every time he's up at bat. He's looking to put a good swing on the ball, get a pitch he can hit, and drive it. So I enjoy watching him hit the ball. Castellanos, another good reason to drink. He's been good all season long. Showed a little power with a home run this last series. So some good and some bad. Schwarber, a whole lot of bad.
Yeah, so the Phils make me drink. I mean, it doesn't take much, right? The slightest change in the wind, and I could feel like I could need one. But where I have the major problem is I'm looking at Lehigh Valley, and I'm looking at Reading, and I'm looking at some players that deserve a look here. I don't understand why Harrison's here and someone like Weston Wilson isn't. I understand he's hitting 259 in Lehigh Valley, but the dude has 15 or 16 home runs and 50 or so RBIs and almost 20 stolen bases. I'll take him over Harrison, no doubt. Or the guy's got to be trade bait. We need these other players. Like Weston Wilson deserves a shot. Jake Cave deserves a shot. How long are they going to leave Bellotti down there to figure it out, and we got to deal with fucking Kobe? I'm sick of this dude. Bellotti's down there. I think he has 11 appearances, and it's a 1 or under 1 ERA. I don't know. Bring the dude up. What they said they were doing with him is teaching him to change up so he could actually not get destroyed by left-handed hitters, right? Because that slider on the righties has been great. I'm just tired of seeing the same old shit being thrown out there. And that's what makes me nuts. And Thompson's misuse of the bullpen and kind of white flagging it at times, and that Hoffman one is the perfect. Like, that what absolutely makes me insane. I don't agree with throwing your worst guy in there in a situation, right? And he's not the worst guy, but he's pretty close to it. You got to keep the games close, because if this offense, maybe it does heat up at some time, I don't want a 4-run deficit to turn into an 8-run, and then it's a joke. But I just think there needs to be some additional personnel changes that maybe adds a spark that is not there right now. So I'll toss it over to Butcha.
All right. So some of you guys may not know, and I'm going to out myself as a total fraud here, but I don't drink. I gave it up a long time ago. That being said, like there's nothing better than falling off the wagon because you're seeing fucking Hoffman in the game again. Like seriously, what the fuck? Like I was driving it for my job yesterday, listening to it, and I was just thinking like, if he puts Hoffman in this game, I might stop for a beer. Like I might have to go somewhere, pull over, say fuck whatever I'm doing as far as work goes, and just start drinking. This is a guy who shouldn't be on a major league roster. And then I heard today that they're talking about adding 2 more teams when the league is already watered down. We have a handful of pitchers who do not belong in the major leagues right now. And then we have guys who belong in the major leagues, as Chris was referring to, who aren't in the major leagues. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, seriously, what are you guys waiting for? What is this? What is the, ownership, general manager, like whoever's in fucking charge of that really needs a kick in the ass because, we got guys that can perform. And look, Bilotti's not good. He can eat up some innings. But he's got to be better than these 2 fucking scrubs, right? So if I'm going to start drinking again, I'm definitely going to call up my man Chris. I'm definitely going to go to the garage. But it's going to be because they don't do anything about this pitching staff.
So I guess the next segment, I'll kind of start it off, is just, we're talking about the All-Star update. And one of the things I looked at today, and this is like non-Phillies related at first, how Arias is not like the obvious choice. The dude's hitting 391 or close to 400. I don't know what they're doing with these finalists. That's an absolute disgrace. He should absolutely be in there, just like Ohtani obviously should be, already the starter. Having Bryce Harper as, right now he's the finalist with JD Martinez is a fucking farce. I don't give a shit about the All-Star game anymore, and this makes me not care about it even more. Like, when I was a kid, it was cool because, like, the teams never played each other, and, like, we didn't have cable. We could only see, the Tigers play the Red Sox on, like, a Saturday morning, but I wouldn't be able to see, any of the players, Jim Rice and Lance Parrish, unless it was there or if they made the World Series. I just think that that's absolutely terrible, and whatever they're doing now with the votes, like, I don't know, the Phillies weren't home for a bit there, so, like, whoever, Atlanta, like, they got a lot of dudes that are good, but they've been on a homestand, so they're stuffing the fucking ballots. Stop with us fans knowing what the fuck we're talking about, and, like, let the players choose the goddamn starters, and then let the manager choose the alternates, and just leave it at that. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree. I think fan voting, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. I think if you put Mike Schmidt on the ballot today, he'd be the starting third baseman in the All-Star game. Like, people see a name and they go right to the most popular player, and it doesn't matter what his numbers are or what he's doing. I mean, Arias is the perfect example. The guy's hitting 400 in a league where everybody strikes out. This guy's putting the ball in play. Now, he doesn't have he doesn't hit 40 home runs or anything like that, but he puts the ball in play and he's on base all day, hitting 400. It's a feat that, we haven't seen since, Ted Williams. And, a few guys have gotten close, but this guy's got a legitimate shot at hitting 400. Ohtani, another great example. The guy's just the best player in the league. There's nothing to it. Harper, his numbers are down. He doesn't deserve to be in that conversation. Even as much, and like JT, he's struggling this year, but I still am hard pressed to find 4 other catchers that are better than him. All around catchers that he's only 5th in voting is kind of a sham. Castellanos isn't even in the picture, and he's having a great year. Bryson Stott, another guy having a nice year. There's a lot of good second basemen, so that's a tough position to get noticed in. But I agree. I let the players choose the All-Stars. They know way more than the fans. The casual fan can go out there and say, "Oh, my favorite player is this guy," and vote. What can you vote? 20 different times. Keep creating emails so you can vote 20 times for your favorite guy. it's a joke. The All-Star game's not even enjoyable. I hardly watch it anymore. But like I agree, as a kid, that was like the big event because you got to see the players that Ken Griffey Jr. and the guys from the West Coast that you never got to see play. And today you see them all, and the knowledgeable fans know who the good players are, but you're not necessarily going to see some of those guys in the All-Star game. Yeah, John.
Yeah, I agree about the fan voting. I voted today, but I didn't vote for one Philly. I didn't think one.
Who'd you vote for? Like,
I actually voted for a Met. I wanted to drink bleach, Lindor, but I didn't vote for one Philly. I don't think any of them deserve it. Like Castellanos is close, is the closest I would vote for, but I didn't see any like you said. I voted for Martinez. Martinez is killing it. Dude's how old now?
Yeah.
There's no reason why Harper should be in there. And
Wait a minute. So you voted for Lindor over Arias then?
Arias is second base.
Yeah. I got Arias a second. I got Arias a second.
Okay, yeah. Who was the other shortstop?
I forget. I just have who I voted for right here. But I didn't Castellanos would be the closest one I voted for. I'm just being honest with what I see. They're not. None of them deserve it.
Ozzy Albies.
Yeah. But and I know someone's out there, there's that little old lady or somebody I love my boys, and go to whole Phillies roster Clemens is such a nice guy. No, they don't deserve it. I voted once. I won't vote again. I just did it to see who would come up with, but you got those people that'll create emails or vote. I think you're allowed to vote so many times a day, and they'll just keep.
Yeah.
No,
if Cody Clemens has more than one vote, it should just be his mom voting for him.
Exactly.
No one else should be voting for him.
I understand your family or something, but no, I didn't vote for anybody, not one Philly, and I never do that.
I mean, I have a vote for mayor of Philadelphia. It's my own. I wrote it in, so I get it. Why not, right?
Yeah.
If you don't agree with anyone, you write yourself in.
Right.
I don't know if that's eligible. Butcher, what's your all-star take?
All right, is that my feedback? I'm not going to vote for the All-Star game again until you have to punch those little holes. You remember those tickets you would get at the game, and you had to punch the hole out, and if you didn't have a pen or a pencil, you couldn't vote. You were trying to bite it out. So all-star games in general are a joke because the players don't really take it seriously anymore. Not that they really ever did, but there were some games that would be more competitive than others. And remember the whole campaign where this one counts. To give home field advantage in the World Series to the team that wins I don't know if they still do that now, but the team that wins the All-Star game, I thought was the biggest sham because so many guys play that aren't even going to sniff the fucking World Series because everybody's got to have a guy out there. For the Phillies, I would expect Kimbrel to make it. I think Castellanos will get there as a reserve. Bryce Harper being I looked it up, phase 2 of the voting. Phase fucking 2 of the voting. What are we doing? What is Major League Baseball doing? For him to be in phase 2 is a joke. He's a great player, but this year he's not doing what he's normally doing. He missed a lot of time. So as far as the All-Star game, I'll just enjoy the night off, I guess. Maybe we should do a podcast that night and talk about our favorite All-Star memories. But yeah, that's all I got as far as that goes. Mike?
Look, I even remember to unmute myself. How do you like that? I wrote down a few notes, guys. Freddie Freeman having that many votes and being a Philly killer. I fucking hate Freddie Freeman. He's one of those guys that I think I would love if he was in red pinstripes, but I can't stand him. I think you guys have covered Harper and JT. They're riding their reputations as far as I'm concerned this year. The All-Star game is for the best people, the best players at their position, and that is not – they're not having that type of a year. You could argue JT defensively, but not offensively. I think Castellanos should be much higher than he is. I think I agree with you, Butcher, that he'll probably be a reserve at some point because he has been pretty clutch and at the plate this year. and if Schwarber is the 15th best outfielder in the NL, when I looked it up, he was 15th. The NL sucks, and the AL will always win the World Series. Just a couple others, like how long is Mike Trout going to have to play in hell? I always loved Salvi. I don't know why, but I know like a bunch of people that live in and around Kansas City and love the Royals. And so I've just always loved how he's handled pitching staffs, really. Aaron Judge, poor guy stubbed his toe. He can't play, and he's still leading the vote getting. And then I guess the one thing that I heard that really intrigued me that might get me to watch the home run derby is that they might select Kutch as like a sentimental pick, kind of like Pujols last year. So that would get me to at least watch the derby. I turned the derby off the last 2 years as soon as the Panda or whatever they call that Chicharron from the Mets comes on. He's such a cocky bastard. I hate him. So that's just my take.
I think the next thing we were going to talk about, and I guess I can kick it off, is, is Thomson good or is Thomson lucky, right? So, last year he comes in and the Phillies all of a sudden are doing great. And this year, now we're a little bit more critical, right? Like, we're kind of, questioning some of the calls. And I'm just going to, delve into, my personal life a little bit and talk about maybe this. And I'm not a Rob Thompson guy, actually, but maybe it's this. So, I'm black and white. I'm either right or wrong. Someone's good or bad. There's no shades of gray for me. And my wife is not like that. She's very shades of gray and brings color. And I wonder if that's what Thomson brings to the team. If someone's not playing, I as a manager would want to sit their ass and say, do you know what? Get in the cage, be here earlier, do whatever. And maybe he's not that dude. And maybe it does work and it just hasn't again yet. Where he's like, hey, you know what? We're going to need you next time, Dylan Covey, when it's a 10-2 game. And we're just going to need you to keep it at 8. But honestly, maybe that's something that he has that I just don't see. And I value it obviously because of, what my wife deals with and brings to my life with the shades of gray and color and helps me see things like that. But I question, I'm going to say he's lucky. I'm not going to say he's good. So I'm going to put it in the lucky.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit of both, and I think it's part of what you're saying. The good part of him is that he seems to be a player's manager that the guys respect. You heard a lot of negative things about Girardi, that he didn't even talk to his guys. It sounds like Thomson has a nice relationship with his players. Last year, I was all for get Girardi out of here. I'm tired of this analytics shit, and I don't want to see someone with a notebook managing a baseball team. Use your gut, use your eyes, and run the team that way. Be a baseball man. Don't be a numbers man. And I thought when Thomson first came in, he kind of did. But the big things that helped him were when they made that change from Girardi, the bullpen really started picking up. They brought back Alvarado from AAA, and he came up, and he's been lights out ever since. He's been one of the best relievers in baseball ever since he came back. Yeah. The offense, all of a sudden, they started getting clutch hits. They started scoring runs. They started doing all the things they weren't doing when Girardi was here. And now this year, I'm watching Thomson, and he's got the notebook too, and he's managing that bullpen. It seems like he goes in there with a plan of, okay, tonight we're using Hoffman, Covey, and Vasquez. And that night, he's definitely not using Soto, Alvarado, and Kimbrel. But then the next night, we're only going to use Alvarado, Soto, and Kimbrel. The top 3 can only pitch together in the same game, and the bottom 3 can only pitch together in the same game. He doesn't mix and match. To me, when I see him run those 3 guys out, I'm like, is this a scheduled loss? Is he not trying to win this game, or is he just hoping we're going to get the good Hoffman tonight, we're going to get the good Marte tonight to keep us in this game for our offense to score a run? Then we'll bring Kimbrel in to save it in the ninth, rather than bringing in his 3 big guys. He got 2 lefties that throw 100 miles an hour. And in that first game against the Braves last week, you're coming off a day off. You're coming off an off day. You're a 1-1 game in the 7th inning, and you're not using Soto or Alvarado in that 7th inning. It made no sense. It makes no sense.
Is sports going this way? Because basketball, there's losses that are like, it's scheduled.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's an away game and he's not playing. Soccer, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we have a League Cup game in the middle of the week and we're just going to put shit out there. We don't care.
Right.
Or the other way around.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess football's not.
Yeah,
Because
you're not enough games.
Yeah,
There's
that's
not
it.
enough
games. Yeah,
Everything's important.
Yeah, they don't have
every-
a chance to do it.
Yeah, every game is important. I hate these scheduled losses. I hate these. Bryson Stott's got 4 hits, but he's the day before, and we're facing a lefty, so we're going to sit him. Why? Because your stupid notebook is telling you that's what you need to do.
Right.
Let your freaking eyes tell you what's going on with your team, and manage with your eyes and with your gut. Stop with the fucking notebooks. And Thompson's turned into a worse version of Girardi in my mind. Because you got these, he's not available. He's not. How can half your fucking bullpen not be available some nights? It makes no fucking sense to me.
Especially like after an off day.
Yeah,
Right.
but the players like him, so
Yeah.
all right, Philly Rob.
That's my buddy. Yeah.
I don't know.
So you're
Sorry.
going with Lucky.
I'm going with more lucky than good.
Yeah.
But a little bit of good because he's a player manager, I guess.
Where are you at with it,
Yes.
John?
I'm going with he was good last year. I think he came in right at the right time. It was a change of atmosphere. Like you said, the players liked him and all, and they played hard for him. And, like, he was a player's manager pretty much. Quiet guy. It seemed to work. Got us to the World Series. I'm like, hey, hooray. Then this year, I'm like, little Girardi-isms are popping up. Schwarber's a leadoff, which I don't agree with. Some people saying it's working, whatever. I don't agree with it. And then mismanaging the bullpen, the lefty-righty crap. Like, Stott, you said it last week, Stott and Marsh should be playing every day unless they need a day's rest. You grow up from a little league all the way up through high school, college, and all through the ranks. You play against lefties or righties. What's the problem that you made the major leagues now? You should be able to hit whatever. But let them play. Unless they're in a slump, then I get it. You throw a different guy in there or whatever. But he's just driving me nuts, like especially with the bullpen. I don't want to see Jeff Hoffman, Dustin Hoffman, nobody. Like I don't know what he's doing. And like you said, he's like Andy Reid in that way. He don't change his game plan. Yeah. He's like, he's got that game plan. I'm not switching from it.
Well, and the other thing I think last year that really helped him was finally the front office stepped up last year and made a couple additions by subtractions. They finally said, get Familia the fuck out of here. So that was
doable.
That was doable. Girardi's favorite guy, bringing in Familia in every goddamn game. That guy sucked. They finally got rid of the fossil Didi at shortstop and were forced to play Stott. And I think so. The front office making a couple decisions kind of forced his hand with player wise. Yeah. He didn't have old faithful Familia to fall back on like Girardi did. I like the veteran guys. I want Didi who couldn't move 2 steps to his left or right to field the goddamn ball. Had no power left. So it forced them to play some of the younger guys. And so I think he benefited a lot by some of the organizational decisions and not necessarily his managing ability. Because now when there's actually expectations, he's letting us down, in my opinion.
And he cracked me up the other day, just real quick. He cracked me up the other day. He threw a Girardi line out there. I don't know if you heard it. He said, I'm not in the front office. I just play who I got. And I'm like, where did we hear that from before? Last year. Or the year before I was at when Girardi said that. So
we'll go to Butcher then to Mike, but I want to say like the tirades everyone's brought today, like much stronger. I love a good angry tirade or like a good poignant tirade. So Butcher, what do you got?
Well, I got more feedback, obviously. My bad, fellas. Is Thomson good or is he lucky? I don't know. I still can't tell. Honestly, the way he handles the bullpen, the way he handles his rotations as far as like righties and lefties and who he plays. Dugan brought up a great point when he was kind of forced to stop using Didi last year because he would have played him for the rest of the year and we would have missed the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind because he's a baseball guy. And how many times did we have to fucking hear that last year? Oh, Rob Thomson, he's a baseball guy. His dad's a baseball guy. What the fuck does that mean? He's a baseball guy. Everybody in the league's a baseball guy. That's how they pull their check. So, like, I just don't understand how they say, oh, Rob Thomson, he's qualified, because he's a baseball guy. Well, the dude was in Major League. He was like a coach for what, like 40 years before he got his fucking chance. That speaks volumes, and us as the serious fan, we see why he was a coach for 40 years without getting that head gig. It's because he makes these little fucking decisions and he relies on his notebook. He relies on the analytics when analytics does not take into account who's hot. It doesn't take into account who's in a slump. It doesn't take into account who fucking stubbed their toe on the way to the fucking park. Like, the analytics doesn't do any of that. All analytics does is say, over the course of forever, this is what we see, so we're going to play the odds. Play the odds. Like, dude, you got to feel it. And as a baseball guy, you would think you would feel it. So I have no idea if Rob Thomson is a good manager, if he got lucky last year, if he's showing cracks this year. I have no idea, because the players have to play, but he's got to put the right players on the field. And I completely forgot about him saying, I just play the guys I have, or whatever the fuck that was. What a cop-out that is. That's some coward shit right there. Like, anyway, that's it.
So you talked about tirades. I'm about to go on one. Somebody said Odubel Herrera's name a minute ago. I used to call that dude dumbass. Talk about going back to the what makes you drink. That guy swung at worse pitches than I've ever seen anyone swing at before in my life. He was such a talent. Like, you talk about $1 million arm and a 5-cent head. That was dumbass. And I fucking could not stand that guy. So, John, you're on my list now because you said his name. As far as Rob Thomson goes, I'm in the camp with Dugan. I think there is a lot to be said for someone being a player's manager, or a manager that has a relationship with his team. I think he knows how to capitalize, and I think he's good at managing when it's going good, right? But when it's not going good, when there's someone in a slump, when someone gets hurt, or, for instance, there's the beginning of the season. I don't think he's the guy that fires the team up to go 15-1 in the beginning of April. I think he's good when the team is going good, and I think he probably got lucky last year in a few spots when they were going bad. You just put the ticker up at the bottom of the screen. Is there any comments that we can shout out?
Yeah, I'll read some out. So Alex liked my song. I appreciate that. I know that's just you being nice, so I do appreciate that. I think that we were having like feedback. So like Mike and Butcher, when you were talking, I'd have to put our mic on mute because everyone's saying you sounded like Dan Baker, which is like, I mean, that's pretty cool to sound like Dan Baker, but we'll have to figure this out. I guess we'll have to get headphones or something here. We're still learning, so I think it's a lot of that. My man Dan from Colorado said, "What's up? How's the garage?" Sig again have Dan Baker in the house. Couple bad echoes. I think my wife was also texting me that. Kevin Long's the best hitting coach. Sarcastically, like, what the hell are we doing in that way? And let's see. David Wombold wants to put Kruk in left. That's an upgrade. Defensively, an upgrade. He hasn't played left in maybe 40 years, but that's an upgrade. I
bet he still hits 290 too.
Yeah.
Disagree. Then talking about it's a popularity contest, and then Nancy just agreed with the Harper, and it just being like a popularity contest, and he know. I think if you ask Bryce, he knows he doesn't deserve it. Duff, so Mike Duff's on here. He said the Phillies player should be manning the concession stands at the All-Star game. And that's not a bad idea. I mean, we all got to pitch in. We're all one team, and, they can make that happen. So Cindy, who's like a long-time fan. I think, John, you're on our shit list for voting for a Met. That's not okay. And
That's legal.
yeah, I mean, it was honest, and we appreciate honesty. You could have you hit the wrong button.
Fuck the Mets and fuck John.
It was very early in the morning.
So, and then Garrett saying Turner, Harper, and JT suck on offense right now. Don't know who to blame for that. I can't blame Thomson, right? I guess I can blame whoever, not Kevin Long, maybe you blame them, maybe you blame the ball. So I wanted to kind of do the normal wrap up. We have another idea that we're going to talk about next show. So we want to talk about superstitions, while watching the game or while we played the game. And hopefully, you'll send us a message with yours, and we'll kind of talk about it and see if it's, maybe one of ours as well. But we're getting through some technical difficulties. I know there were some echoes. Bear with us. Each week we'll get better with that. I can't promise that will be better content, but I sure hope there will be, because I love talking to these guys. And it's just like us sitting around a bar talking baseball. Our group chat is always going wild all day and all night talking baseball stuff. So thanks for tuning in for episode 2. Fuck the Mets and fuck Joe Carter. Have a good night, everyone.
Fuck the Mets.